Hello there, Dawn of War 2 fans. It's your boy STD today, bringing you a game featuring the one and only LS ChokoBambus. Choco or Choco? Take your pick. I'm going to go with Choco. So I'm going to call him Choco. He's going to be fighting up against Feg, who's playing the mech boy. So Feg versus Choko. I said Choco, now I'm calling him Choco again. Whatever, it's going to be a bit of both. I can't help it. No Banshees to start with. I wonder if Choco knew that he was going to be fighting the mech boy. The mech boy can be pretty annoying for the Banshees, harassing him early on. It's pretty weird, honestly, to not get Banshees normally. Classic Warp Spider Exarch shenanigans with the VPs early on. Bit of a nuisance. Shooter boys are going to come over in full force, all 10 of them, force this guy off, and then he's going to teleport away, and you're going to just think, ugh. Wow, he actually goes into the cover. I mean, that is also annoying because he will beat the damn shooter boys in melee as well, so pretty awkward. Mech Boy is not letting the Warp Spider outshine him in awkwardness though. Forcing off the Guardians here, actually getting the full cap on the natural requisition of Choco. Probably not worth it. Sluggers here, catching the Dire Avengers. Oh, whoops, they're Guardians, they're not Dire Avengers. Not anymore. But I think they'll be fine here, honestly. Mech Boy could teleport into one of them, tie them up in melee. Yep, and these guys can go crazy. I'm on online mode again on Steam. Fantastic. Yeah, Warp Spider looked like he eventually was forced off. Killed 2 boys. And 1 Guardian died, so yeah, pretty even all around, given that the Warp Spider Exarch didn't go down, but the Mech Boy, wow, if only he had the energy for 1 more teleport, that would have been a killed Warp Spider Exarch, but he doesn't, so there you go, he lives. Now, Slugger Boys are going to try and get a Gem Bash. The Shuriken is obviously going to try and prevent that, but the thing is, the Mech Boy soon is going to have the energy to be able to come over and tie up that Shuriken himself. So I don't know. This music's too loud, isn't it? Hang on, guys. Let's try this. Let's try this. Alright. Might be a bit better. Problem is that the bloody volume levels between different playlists are at different levels, so it's not just as simple as keep the volume settings the same. Oh no. Could never be that simple. Poor Mech Boy's a little bit outnumbered here. He needs to get the hell out of here. Battery pack is coming. Makes it even worse if he dies. Okay, he does teleport out, but like, that was a massive unnecessary risk. No upgrades yet on the shooter boys. Triple wah. I guess he was waiting to get the Storm Boys as soon as possible because obviously he didn't see any Banshees, so you would expect the Shurikens coming out very quickly. No nade spikes there, that could have been a potential threat to the Storm Boys, but now they do pretty well actually. Kill a lot of Guardians there, actually getting 5 Guardian model kills. Shooters are now going to push up, try and bash the gens, Storm Boys cap in the mid. Good little engagement for Feg. Now I want to see him. Yeah, we got triple gens coming up, so now we're seeing the shooter boy upgrades. I like this play, this is good play. But the battery pack as well to support the Storm Boys, heal them, give them more energy so they can start double jumping around. That's going to be particularly relevant if Choco opts to go for multiple Shurikens, which he probably will. Choco making a bit of a, well, I was going to say noob mistake, but basically he played the Warp Spider a long time ago, and if any of you guys go play Warp Spider in retail, you will see that the damage that he does is fucking insane. It's like 50% higher than Elite Mode, man. But he's worse in melee. But he has ridiculous special attacks in melee that knock everything over. It's really quite absurd. Anyway, it makes sense in retail to go for your improved targeters early on because the 50% extra damage in tier 1 is nuts, because he already does huge damage. So you kill the basic boys really fast. In Elite Mode that doesn't make sense because the damage got nerfed. But it does make sense if you go for the heavy gauge Death Spinner. You just would do it the other way around, right? You go for the spinner first to get the DPS increase, and then you go for the taggers. So yeah, a lot of damage incurred by the Storm Boys there, but they eventually do jump onto the Shuriken, and all that damage is just negated by the battery pack heal. Now the Guardians find themselves in a tricky spot looking for a nade spike, but these Guardians unfortunately are getting knocked over. The retreat attempt, kill attempts are abandoned in order for the Stormboys to jump onto the other Guardians, and man, this is just a lot of bleed. How many models did the Warp Spider kill? Okay, the Warp Spider did really well against these shooters, killing 5 of them, and then gibbing a Stormboy, and you can see the power of both of these weapon upgrades here against such fragile light infantry squads. You can also see the power of the battery pack. All that jumping that the Stormboys did, and they still have energy for another final jump to get rid of that Shuriken once again. But, you know, Choco's holding on to his gens at least, but he is kind of losing map control. Slugger's this whole time been controlling this part of the map. Now we see a power node coming down here. Choco only holds 3 points at this point to the 7 points that Feg holds. So yeah, a really dominating start from Feg. I question the lack of either a third Dire Avenger or just Banshees, you know? Oh, bloody hell, anything. Another Shuriken, third Dire Avenger, Banshees, anything else would have been quite good. I think Feg is in a commanding position right now. But Choko is the one who's going to be going to tier 2 first, so we'll see where he goes with it. The thing is, if you get to tier 2 first as an Eldar, typically you want to get the Falcon, push forward with it, use it like a tank in tier 2. Destroy all the enemy gen farm, get a nice advantage. Problem is, I don't really like the Falcon against Orcs in general. Tank Busters, really good against Falcons with the burst damage. One good, clean hit of Tank Buster Barrage will wipe a Falcon outright. But it's even worse because it's not just Orcs, it's also the Mech Boy. So he's got the teleporting beamy death gun that he can get as well, which will put on huge pressure onto the Falcon. Unless you've gone like triple Guardians, and even then I would question it. Without triple Guardians, I would not be going to Falcon. And then that makes me question why you're actually rushing tier 2. I think what we might see here is perhaps double Warp Spiders. One purchased from the base, and one coming out from the global bar of the Warp Spiders, so you can get them a bit cheaper and a bit quicker. Nice nade there, not really dodged by Feg. Must have been paying attention elsewhere. Unfortunately, it only took out 2 boys, so not the biggest reward for Choko there. Stormboy's taking a huge amount of damage here from the Warp Spider and the Shuriken. They are going to jump onto the Shuriken. That is kind of, I don't know. I mean, I guess it works out because the Guardians weren't there to counter-initiate, but wow, and in spite of Choko starting tier 2 first, we actually see that Feg is the one who's going to be getting a tier 2 unit first, unless we see a call down. The Death Dread is on the way, and this is going to put on an immense amount of pressure, to be honest, to Choko. I'm not exactly sure how he's going to be able to handle this. Guardians might be getting wiped here. A beautiful special attack from the Stormboys, and that is all the Stormboys need to actually have retreat killing potential. They're not very good at chasing things that are moving, but if they knock you over with a nice special attack before you hit retreat, they can do a lot of damage and wipe you before you know it. And we're not going to see the Falcon, which I think is a wise decision, but it also makes me question why you would rush tier 2 so quickly. Instead, we're going to see the Wraithlord, which, yeah, honestly, a lot better choice against Eldar. I mean, against Orcs as Eldar, jeez. Choko's on the back foot, man. Now, one would expect that Choko would follow the Wraithlord up with a Warp Spider call in using his global bar. Get them nice and cheap and preserve your power. Lord knows he needs to preserve his power. He's only got 1 gen down here. He doesn't even have a node for the contested power that he has. Death Dread's got its burners and bits, and it's moving over to the gen farm. Probably going to be destroying that final gen that Choko has. And here we go. We got the call down, bringing in the Warp Spider squad. Warp Spiders, absolutely fantastic against Orcs. But you do have to be careful not to have them caught out of cover against shooter boys, or they will lose the trade. But god, they teleport, man, so why the hell are they ever out of cover, you know what I mean? Now, the annoying thing here with this Death Dread is that the Wraithlord really loves going for the Shuriken Cannon in this matchup, so it can stand near the Guardians in range stance and just bleed the Orcs. But then that means that you've got to go for the Bright Lance, so you're not going to have enough AV to kill the Death Dread, so yeah, I don't know. This is awkward. I don't really want to get the Bright Lance on either the Wraithlord or the Guardian weapon team if I was Choko, but he's going to have to get it on one of them. Unless he saves up for Fire Dragons or something, but I think that would be quite ridiculous, to be honest. Shooter Boy's coming down to reinforce. Looks like some proximity mines have been placed down by the Mech Boy. See, he's got that accessory, obviously noticing that Choko doesn't have any ranges, therefore has no detector on the field at the moment. No upgrades yet on the Slugger Boys, which I find... I mean, it makes sense in Tier 1, but I think now is the time to start focusing on them. So a good trick to deal with Warp Spiders, exactly what you just seen from Feg. You bait the knockback, you bait the teleport using the knockback of Bomber Boys. Wow, what a bad engagement for Choco. What a bad engagement. Brightland's taken out by the rush from the Shooter Boys and the Storm Boys. Where's that Death Dread? Okay, it's moving back. Shuriken Cannon is coming out for the Wraith Lord, presumably trying to hunt down this Shooter Boy. Well, that's weird. He just got a sync kill. You're not meant to get sync kills on... Very strange. Anyway. Yeah, Wraith Lord's doing some good damage, but unfortunately no wipes here, whereas Choco did actually get his Bright Lance wiped, so now there's no real AV to deal with this Death Dread. There is a need for repair support for the Death Dread, and the Sluggers are on their way to do that. They're still naked, so it's actually quite a good use of their time. Obviously, now that we have Gretchen in the game, that is an alternative option that you can go for. But yeah, whilst the Sluggers are naked, it's not really necessary. Crackshot is used on the Warp Spiders, buffing their damage and making them really scary against light infantry. Good idea there, I think, to just do the jump, waste their energy a little bit, and then retreat straight out without losing any unnecessary models. What I was mentioning earlier about the Warp Spiders, you bait them into teleporting using your Bomber Boys, because if they don't teleport, they take a big AoE damage, and they're knocked over, and then you just shoot them up with your Shooter Boys. Even if they're in cover, it'll knock them out of cover. So usually they'll teleport away, and then when they teleport away, it's on cooldown, so then you just jump them with your Storm Boys and rip them up in melee. It's a good way to control them. Alternatively, you can use things like the Weird Boy basic ability instead of the Bomber Boy. Equally as effective. Combine it with aiming what's that from the big shooters, and then they can't just walk away from it manually. They really will need to teleport. And as soon as they waste their teleport, you jump on them with your Storm Boys. Or you can Bomber Boys them. Either works. If you Bomber Boys them, you need to follow up with some Shooter Boy fire as well. Otherwise, it's not going to force them off just on its own. That'd be kind of insane. Alright, here we go. We've got Tank Busters on the field now. That's obviously going to put a lot more pressure onto the Wraith Lord. But the thing is, Tank Busters are relatively fragile. They are the best option here for Feg. But they definitely have counterplay, you know. Crackshot, Warp Spiders will melt Tank Busters very fast. And the Warp Spider Exarch himself will also put on a significant amount of pressure. So we'll see how Choco manages here. He's obviously at a huge disadvantage because he is so badly outnumbered. I would like to see some Guardians come out as well. Sorry. A Warlock to lead the Guardians. Okay, we get the engagement here. Heavy Gauge Death Filament is going in. The Warp Spider Exarch teleports further forward, actually snipes the Mech Boy. And this is a terrible engagement for the Wraith Lord. Obviously, it can beat a Death Dread 1v1, but the problem is that these Tank Busters here are putting in way too much fire support. There was an attempt at using Crackshot on the Warp Spiders, but the Storm Boys have dealt with that fairly easily. I don't even know if they managed to get the Haywire Grenade off. Probably not, because I'm assuming they used their energy for a teleport. So they appear not to have used their energy for a Haywire. Fire Dragons are on the field. Okay, this is interesting. There's no real AV here. Where are the Tank Busters? They had to retreat from the Warp Spider Exarch pressure. But it looks like the Death Dread might actually be good enough to take out the Wraith Lord here. This is very close. Slugger Knob is actually going down, but the Storm Boys absolutely wreck the Fire Dragons. Wow. There did appear to be some sort of pathing issue there with the Storm Boys. I don't know if Feg was doing that intentionally, using the halt command on his Storm Boys to try and bug out the pathing priorities of the Wraith Lord. I mean, it doesn't bug it out, it just screws with it. Basically, what you need to do is you just need to keep clicking with your Wraith Lord. It's a bigger unit than the Storm Boys, and it will push the Storm Boys out of the way. Just use the halt command with your Wraith Lord, and it'll push them away. But anyway, Choco didn't do that, and he lost his Wraith Lord, and yeah, I mean, this is looking rough. There's a War Truck on the field now. Bit of a questionable purchase. I don't know if he actually got that before he killed the Wraith Lord. I can see it having value, given that the Wraith Lord already committed to the Shuriken launcher, not the Bright Lance. You can use the War Truck plus Tank Busters to really put a lot of pressure on the Wraith Lord. But yeah, now that that's dead, I don't really see the point. It's going to ferry the Tank Busters over to get a Gem Bash, but yeah, what does that achieve? Not a whole lot. Warp Spider Exarch's doing really well, level 5.5 compared to the level 2 of the Mech Boy. Certainly a bit one-dimensional, this Warp Spider Exarch, just teleporting around and bleeding orcs, but hey, he gets the job done. And I forgot to mention it, but we did actually just see the Shooter Boys getting wiped in front of our eyes over there by a grenade. Pretty sloppy there from Feg. Honestly, commendable really that Choko is even in this game. I feel like he's had half the army size for most of this match. Okay, here we go. Repair crew grots are on the field. They're going to deal with the repairs for the death trade. Where are the sluggers? Okay, they're in the war truck, yeah. So it looks like Choko is positioning himself for a bit of a counter bash. Doesn't really matter at this point, to be honest. Feg is so far ahead in power that it's kind of irrelevant. War truck actually gets taken down straight away by the crack shot fire dragons, plus the haywire from the wart spiders. But all of the mass melee that comes out of that war truck eventually does force off Choko's army. A little bit of a soft retreat so far from the Warp Spider Exarch. I would like to see him get his enhanced warp jump generator, just to improve his energy economy and so that he gets more longer range teleports more often. But yeah, this is looking rough. You know, the war truck at the end of the day, not really that expensive. It's a take, I guess, but it's not really that big of a deal. Bit of a close range teleport there, I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, so now the Bomber Boys hits them, they get knocked over, Sluggers start killing some models. But man, look at the damage. Even during that short duration of fire, a lot of Slugger Boys getting gibbed, and now Storm Boys getting gibbed. But the AV's not that good. Like once you... Oh, poor Grot just got wrecked. Once you tie up the fire dragons in melee, there's basically no AV. There's only the spike damage from the Warp Spider Exarchs, but sorry, not the Warp Spiders themselves with the haywire grenades. Once they're down the drain, you tie up the fire dragons. There's no more AV coming out. Guess you could get the what are they called? The heavy melee blades on the Warp Spiders. What the hell are they called? I've totally forgot what they're called. But yeah, you could get them. That might be an idea actually. This death trade is kind of being a nightmare. See, one haywire goes down on the death trade. Hang on. Oh no. Looks like the mech boy was trying to tie up the wrong thing. Tying up the Warp Spiders, not the fire dragons. Beautiful special there from the death trade, knocking over the fire dragons. A little bit unusual for the fire dragons not to have their armor that gives them knockback immunity. But it looks like that should be the end of the death trade in the end. Yeah, fair enough. No heavy melee blades needed on the Warp Spider Exarch. Speaking of the Warp Spider Exarch, yeah, he has been idling for a fair bit and he's come out and start contributing to the combat himself. Tank busters have moved over to Choko's power farm and are now decapping it. Let's see what comes of that. Yeah, a prompt retreat when double Warp Spiders fully upgraded turn up. Would be actually worth meleeing the tank busters, to be honest. Basically, Warp Spiders do terrible damage in melee by default. However, if you get the aspect upgrade, it gives the Exarch the power blades, which actually makes him pretty solid in melee. The actual rest of the Warp Spiders themselves are garbage, like Guardians in melee or something. So yeah, I mean, even Choko has a decent stockpile of power here, even though he's lost his gens a long time ago. Feg has well more power than he ever is going to need, to be honest. Looks like these players are going to be stuck in tier 2 for a very long time. Loads of requisition being spent on each side. Okay, Warp Spiders are getting a nice counter bash. You know, I don't actually dislike this, even though that Feg really has no need for the power. The beautiful thing here is it's free XP for these Warp Spiders. Warp Spiders get really good with levels. They already do use damage, so anything that can increase their damage output a little bit further is very, very valuable. Both players are really low in red as well, so clearly has been a lot of global usage throughout this game, and obviously Orcs use War quite often, which will drain their red, amongst other abilities. But a 2-0 cap at the moment for Feg, and Feg is ahead on the VPs, so I don't know, this is tricky, but at the end of the day, this is a massive map, and you are against the Warp Spider Exarch. You can also start putting some web wiggets down everywhere, so there is always potential for Eldar when the chance to rat is around. Crack shot going down to the Warp Spiders, putting out a lot of damage, and a beautiful Stormboy jump. However, the Wasp Spiders do get time to jump out, and basically there's no follow-up. Now they're going to melt the Storm Boys. Kill a couple of Fire Dragons. Now they need to refocus their fire onto the Sluggers, who are ripping these Fire Dragons to pieces. Actually just going to wipe them straight up. Poor micro from Choko there. And you see the sheer amount of damage that those Warp Spiders are able to generate when they finally turn around and focus fire those Slugger Boys. These Warp Spiders are only level 2 and level 3. Imagine them both at level 4. Man, that would be terrifying. And the Shooter Boys have to retreat very quickly. They don't want to take these fights in the open. They want to take them with cover. Or at least with the melee units rushing in first, tanking all the damage. It's like the Guardians are intentionally not being reinforced at this point, purely using them as a capping unit. I mean, it makes sense, kind of. Well, not really. Honestly, Guardians are very good against Orcs. As soon as you get the Warlock to give you the damage resistance against ranged, I think they become extremely cost effective. Granted, they're not very strong in tier 1. Bit of a lull in the action here. Warp Spiders, I'm not really sure what they're waiting for. They should just be decapping the requisition, I would have thought, but they're not. Gretchen moving forward, being sent out as fodder to scout for the enemy. Gretchen not very useful at this point, of course. They are the repair crew, so nothing for them to repair is not ideal. Poor engagement, and you see now the Warp Spiders are getting a little bit out of control. That's presumably why Fega's bought the Weird Boy. The Weird Boy does a lot to control Warp Spiders. Oh my god, look at the melting. Nearly rips those Shooter Boys to pieces. A load of Gretchens get killed. Weird Boy really slow on his Warp Vomit there. Yeah, these Warp Spiders are proving a problem. However, Feg is tier 3. So he could get Flash Gits out right now, which will do very well against the Warp Spiders. The extra range is nice. So you can handily outrange them, and then they're heavy infantry as well, so they're a lot more resistant to the piercing damage that the Warp Spiders put out. However, Dark Reapers now as well, so they actually do Inferno damage, so the heavy infantry armor will not be half as good against the Inferno damage of these fellas. However, Dark Reapers are actually heavy infantry themselves, so they in turn are very weak to the Blasters. And maybe the Blasters would be the way to go. Okay, Weird Boy needs to retreat right now, jeez. That is a lot of ranged firepower. Stunned by the heavy gauge Death Spinner as well. Another lull in the action. Alright, here we go. The Orcs are approaching. Finally we're getting the enhanced warp jump generator. I feel like that was super late, but to be fair, he has been kind of power staffed. So we've got the Flash Gits, they've got the Git Finders, gives them extra range. Look at the damage now. I think they're shooting at the Dark Reapers, which is not ideal for them right now, because the Dark Reapers are in cover, and they're heavy infantry, so the piercing damage of the Gits is massively mitigated. And oh my god, the Storm Boys nearly get wiped. Holy shit. Look at the damage, man. Insane. Warp Spiders. Beautiful Tank Buster Barrage, though. And now you see the power of the Snaz guns coming in, attacking those Warp Spiders from mass range and really, really hurting them. Fire Dragons now moving forward. I mean, they're a little bit late to the party, aren't they? Come on, guys. What the fuck are you doing? What the hell were you guys doing? Rots are hidden down the side, just decapping a point, as you do. Big ass noses. Yeah, I think Fire Dragons are just contemplating suicide, to be honest, at this point. Giving their souls up to Slanesh. Probably worse than dying to Orcs, guys. Go fight. Come on. Save your craft world and all that. Again, Fire Dragons are actually heavy infantry, so they're not taking crazy damage from the Flash Gits. But yeah, certainly with that shot from the Weird Boy, they need to just get the fuck out. I mean, they were kind of just caught in a terrible position there. Flanked quite badly. There's fighting going on. Seems to be just down here. Looks like Guardians have been forgot about by Choco. They're going to get taken out by the Storm Boys. Oh, and a beautiful sync kill. Storm Boy is angry with that fella. And he's gone now. But the What Spider X-Hack's been given an opportunity to decap the mid. Man, the VPs are very low for each side. Only 60 left for Choco. Or 63 to be specific. 77 for Feg. What Spider X-Hack might get taken out here. You see the What Spiders moving in. They don't do quite as much damage to the flash kits because of that heavy infantry armor. But they still do a lot of damage. Oh my god, Weird Boy. Actually, I thought he was going to friendly fire the Storm Boys, but it appears he doesn't. He's actually. These What Spiders are just melting everything. What level are they? Level 4, level 3. Damn. The problem is that Feg doesn't have all of his army there. He needs fully upgraded shooters nearby. Not bringing them back out the battlefield with 2 models. I guess the problem is he's getting bled like crazy, so he can't even fully reinforce all of his squads. Retribution doing a good job though, just going around capping with 2 models. Very cheap, very low on upkeep. I thought that was the end of them, but no, the What Spiders teleported forward to dissuade the Mech Boy from coming too close. And yeah, the VP pressure's on. Now 70 VPs left for Feg. He needs to make some sort of play. He has purchased knobs. You know, in spite of all the bleed, he saved up quite well. Now, what I'd like to see from Feg, with all these injured squads, get them all together and do a nice Call the Boys push. Fully reinforce all of them. For free, basically. I mean, you pay that sunk cost in terms of requisition, but everything else, yeah, it's free.
The foe seeks to deprive us of a vital resource point. Support structure complete.
Well, we're probably approaching the final engagement here. That Mech Boy is leading from the front. I suspect to Call the Boys, but this Storm Boy could just get wiped. There we go. Call the Boys comes out. Storm Boy Nob is killed immediately. Weird Boy goes in, actually baits out the teleport with a Weird Boy, and then wastes the jump from the Storm Boys. We've got Crack Shot down on the Dark Reapers. Fortunately, not really doing that much damage, to be honest. These guys are very tanky at this point. We've got level 3 Slugger Boys, and we've got some level 1 Nobs with their Nob leader. You can see that the Dark Reapers are hurting the Nobs, but yeah, I mean, it's not really enough quick enough. But the Eldar units are doing a good job ratting. They're not letting the melee catch up to them. Well, I say that just as the Nobs somehow get into melee with full energy Warp Spiders. Dark Reapers, quite frankly, just getting wrecked by the Weird Boy. Trying to shoot the Slugger Boys here, but they're getting damage resistance from the Swamper ability. They're also protected by green cover, so this is an awful engagement from the Dark Reapers. Now they're retreating through Nob Squad. Good luck, boys. Yeah, there you go. Dark Reapers get sniped. I mean, honestly, Choco nearly had that with the double Warp Spiders. I mean, I think that game really goes to show the power of double Warp Spiders in this matchup. Very, very impressive. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like below. And a comment. Don't care what the comment is, just leave a comment. I know, why don't you guys just comment grots? You're all grots. Just comment, you're all grots down below. And that will help us get this video out to more people via defeating that YouTube algorithm I'm eternally at war with. Thanks for tuning in, folks. That is all from your boy STD today, signing out.